Communication is a two-way street. And when you are dealing with somebody that is very emotional, has a preconceived idea about what they believe or what their opinion is, and it's immovable. You can sense this early on. They're not open to reason. They're not open to facts. They're not open to your perspective. They will discount you. They will even subtly dismiss you, whether it's with facial gestures, body language, or just little dinging comments that make you feel like, hey man, this person is just not hearing me. And when you have a political element, a religious element, an ideological element, it makes it next to impossible oftentimes to have a rational, logical, factual discussion, because it's not about the facts. What happens, we as human beings fall into the trap of attaching our ego and our identity to our beliefs, to our in-group, to our tribe. And to let go of that belief, it's like a small death. And it could be very painful, because it could mean you're no longer accepted by the tribe. It could mean that you are weakening in your belief is being challenged, and you're not believing the lie anymore, and the illusion, and the veil is going to be parted, and that can be scary. And that's why it's really crazy, because even after people see that what they believed was wrong scientifically, they will double down. They will find excuses, rationalizations, justifications to explain why what they believed is still correct. It is a human weakness, but we have so much trouble admitting, hey, you know what? I was wrong. What I thought was true turns out not to be true, and I got swept up with groupthink, and it's, now that I've looked at the data, it looks like that what I believed was inaccurate, or not as bad as I was told, or I was conditioned to believe. And it takes courage to go against the grain, to be an independent thinker, to formulate your own thoughts, to do your own research. I think that's a big thing. It's just doing your own research instead of being spoon-fed data, facts, opinions, judgments, ostracizing people that don't believe just like you. And it's sad, because it's divided families, it's broken relationships, it's really has a destructive force amongst humans. And again, it appeals to our tribal nature. But it's not only politics or religion. You could just be talking to someone and you feel like you're speaking a different language because they're just not getting you. And everything has a retort, or has like a put down, or they're shutting you down, or they're just not seeing your point of view, and they're digging in their heels. Just stop talking. I have made this mistake so many times of thinking, oh, I could just reason with them and get through to them. And it just doesn't work. And especially if they're an emotional thinker, or if their beliefs are emotionally based, they just, facts, data, logic, it just doesn't do it. And you could be so frustrated in trying to engage in a rational, logical conversation. And it creates stress, it creates tension, it creates anger, it can lead to arguments. And if the person is not open, if they're set in their ways, yeah, the best thing is just to bite your tongue. In fact, so many instances, it's just better to bite your tongue, because having a healthy, open discussion where you're understanding each other, you're empathizing with each other, you're trying to see the other person's point of view, is really, especially these days, it's really hard to find. And people just like, hey, this is what I believe. And basically, they could have a sign saying, unchangeable, I'm not moving, I'm not budging. And it's something that we need to catch ourselves for not falling into the trap of being immovable, being so convinced that what we believe is the right thing, the right way, and being open to being wrong. And it's just such a challenge for human beings to do that. But it creates growth and evolution. It creates like wisdom, because you're not attached to your ideas, values, or beliefs. And there's flexibility, and there's adaptation, and there's learning from new information or learning from your blind spots. And it's really liberating to live one's life this way of like, hey, maybe I could be wrong, and I'm going to be open in conversations to hear why I could be wrong, or just to listen to the other person and not be so tied into my preconceived notions. Man, I know it's a wonderful way to approach human relationships, but it is very challenging to do. And as soon as you start to get emotional, it's like, that's when you should start shutting things down, because emotions really mess up clear thinking, and it also doesn't open the other person up to hearing you. And I've made that mistake, and really trying to learn from it. I've seen it in my coaching. When I coach my clients, the same thing happens, and it's like good doesn't come from it. It only heightens the tension and creates more separation between the two parties. And sometimes it's just got to come to the point where like, hey, we're not going to be discussing these topics because it's not fruitful. And that's the whole thing, is like, let something beneficial come out of difficult conversations. That's not always possible. At the same time, that doesn't mean we should be passive and get bulldozed by other people. We should still stand our ground, but not engage in just mindless discourse and rhetoric and trying to convince someone against their will, because they'll be of the same opinion still. If you'd like some affordable life coaching, my email's in the description. Everyone can benefit from it, and be interested in your feedback on this video, and what things you like, what things you'd like me to, constructive feedback for me, so I can make better videos in the future, and maybe some personal examples of you realizing this lesson, or maybe this video is a wake-up call that oftentimes it's just better just to keep quiet. All right, bye-bye.